So I'm doing comedy in the Laugh Factory 2017, maybe 2018. I do my show afterwards and do some merch, and some guy comes up to me as a dentist, and he's like, hey, I like you. How much would you like to have dinner with me? He had an accent. I'm not sure where. So I'm giving him a random accent. And I said, what? Because you at the Laugh Factory, at the late show, there'll be maybe 66 people, 68 people. And if it goes late, 10:30, you're out there midnight, 12:05, which is still early, but in Vegas on like a Wednesday night, it's funny who you'll run into, right? That's why I love that. That's why I just love Vegas. And I love that part of the Strip. He gives me his card and he's like, I'd like to have some dinner with you to come over and I'll pay you for your time. I don't know where he's from. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so I do my run for the week or whatever and I'm done. I'm in Vegas at the time and I'm doing a lot of comedy. And I also, this is going to take me sad about my parents because this was when my parents were sick. And I was trying to get into the weed deal. And I had a weed deal that I was trying to do. And I don't want to say anything disparaging because I don't want to get, I don't know what I can say. But the person was not honest who I was dealing with. And I thought they were. And they ended up just the whole deal up. But I was putting in money, and so I was going to Vegas at least once a week to try and do this weed deal, cultivation when the gold rush was happening because I was really interested. And so I would do shows, and so I'm there. And then at the end of my run for the week, I was like, call this guy. So I had someone call this guy. I think it was the person I was doing the weed deal with, and she was like, yeah, the guy's legit. He wants to take you. He wants you to have dinner with him, and he'll give you $5,000 in cash. And I was like, really? And I'm like, when? And she's like, Tuesday night. So I'm like, okay, I like Vegas. You don't have to twist my arm. I'll stay an extra day, and I'll just chill. And I think I went to the spa on Monday, and I said, I'll stay for Tuesday and have a meal. And he's like, yeah, I'll take you anywhere you want to go, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. I'm like, well, you got to come with me because I do like the person I was doing the weed deal with. I just think that they my shit up. So I'm going to talk about them in this story, even though I don't really like them right now. But like I like them because I did like them. And I was like, okay, you come with me. I said, I'll have my manager come with me. And I said, I want a bodyguard. So she said, okay, I know a UFC guy who's a fighter, and I'll have him be your bodyguard, and you can pay him a couple bucks. And I said, okay. Now, this is a crazy story, so I'm going to try to get all the details out. So she called the guy back, and the guy says, sure, I'll pay for the bodyguard, I'll pay for the manager, I'll pay for you. You can all come. And it's going to be me, I think my wife, and maybe another friend. So I was like, okay. So I end up going to this guy's house. He lives in some place in Vegas in a gated community in an absolute palace. A palace. Incredible. And I don't want to say too much, but he made a lot of money in dentistry. And these are the real people that have a lot of money. People like that. People who do veneers or people who deal in like cotton swabs or Velcro. I always find that those are the realest, richest people. Paper clips. And so this guy has a house on a mountain. And I mean, you had to go through this gate. And I used to have a house in Vegas. And I had a gated community. But his gate, he went up and then up. And then he had to go. And he was so in the gate. He was so far to get to his community. Then through the gate. So far within it. And then when he got there, his house was on a hill. And it was so far. Like you could not get to this guy. And he had an absolute banger of a palace. Like everything. Huge pool parties, big screens, just a wine cellar out the wazoo, racquetball court, like you name it. This dude had it, and he made a couple $100 million in the dental business. I don't know how, but I believe him. He's like a nice, sweet, nerdy guy who wants to meet celebrities. So, the old adage everybody is celebrities, you think celebrities are rich. They are compared to the normal person, but they're not, okay? Like, that's why Silicon Valley wants to be cool, so that's why they buy into Hollywood. And what does Hollywood? Hollywood wants their money, because $100 million in Hollywood is a wart on a technological lord's dick, okay? So, as much as people and friends make, $150 million, it's a lot of money, or people who have 10 million, I'm not saying who. It's a wart on their dick. So I always find that people that have these different corners of life cornered have a lot of money. And so they actually respect Hollywood, some of them, but they also think they can buy Hollywood. And that's when it's disrespectful. But this guy had a real appreciation for Hollywood and comedy. He came to my show. It wasn't busy. He's like, you were funny. The crowd was weird, but you were funny. I don't know. I'm giving him that accent again. I don't know where he was from. And he goes, I think you're crazy and I like you. So anyway, go to his house. It was probably, it had to be 2017 because I was drinking. Big ass duck horn. You know what duck horn is? We're drinking duck horn. We're drinking Camus. And it's me, him, my manager, my business partner. I'm not in business with any of these people anymore. UFC guy who was great. And we're all getting really toasty, which is crazy. I think the UFC guy was drinking, which I'm like, dude, you got to protect me. But the guy seemed pretty harmless. His wife, and we're just, chilling by the pool. And he says, we'll drink for a little while and then we'll go out. So I was like, okay. So he says, at the end of the night, I'll give you $5,000. And I said, okay. And then he took a shot at me in a funny way. He's like, I know. He goes, is that a good rate? And I said, yeah, I think that's fair. And he goes, I thought it was fair as well. I look at you and I see this is a guy that I want a few hours of his time, that he's a $5,000 guy. This is what I want. And then he named some other comedian. Let's just say, I don't know. Let's just say he named who can I think of? He named another celebrity. He's like, that celebrity is going to be $10,000. They will not go between, I don't know. I think he talked like this. They will not go below $10,000. And I'm like, yeah, I think that's a good call. And he's like, Magic Johnson, I've been trying to get him for years. He's $500,000. In my mind, the amount of time I want to spend is $500,000. And I said, yeah, that sounds about right. And I think he said 50 cent, and he said like 50 cent would be $250,000. Like he was naming all these numbers of celebrities, and he was like, I see you as a $5,000 guy. You can grow, but right now I look at you, the way you're dressed, the way you talk about, the way you are in life, you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you're about $5,000. And I said, you're about right. Because it's a fair rate to get $5,000 to sit and eat with a guy who takes care of everything. It's a very fair rate. You know what I mean? Like, there's a joke that one of my agents has, my con agent, and they asked, I'm not going to name names of some of his biggest clients, and they said, would they do it for $5,000? And my agent, I'm not going to name names. He's like, they don't cross the street for $5,000. And he's like, you want Jamie? So I am a good starter at $5,000. By the way, $5,000 is fair. I mean, who doesn't like 5,000, right? Anyone would like 5,000. Now, if you're at home going, I'm not. I work my balls off, and this is just a random thing. I've gotten to that place, but this is my life. So 5,000 might be a lot to you, or it's a hand of blackjack for someone else. I mean, but it is a fair rate for me. Like, I actually told you this in my other pod. I'm about a $10,000 a day actor when I'm working in terms of the time and everything. And because I'm a $10,000 a day employee between comedy shows and different things. If you prorate me, I can show you in different things in my life when I spend my time. I'm about a $1,500 an hour entertainer. That's the truth. That's kind of what I get paid throughout my different careers, and with time and travel, I did this whole chart. So the guy saying this stuff to me, and I wasn't being offended. I was liking it. I was like, I'm chilling in his place, drinking amazing wine. He's a good dude from somewhere over and somewhere, I don't know, Middle East, India, I'm not sure. I know that sounds terrible, but I couldn't really pin it. Great guy. And he goes, I have a friend that would like to come over. I have a friend. I don't know where he was from. Stay with me on this accent. And he goes, he likes you, and he would like to join us for dinner. And I go, come on, dude, I don't want any weirdos. And I'm like, I forget the UFC guy's name. Let's call him Willie. I'm like, Willie. He's like, come on, dude. He's like, we don't want no weirdos. He's not weird. He's very cool, and he wants to join us. My wife, the wife goes, he's very cool. And I was like, okay. And so the wife, so I'm like, who's in the crew? He's like, your guy, your bodyguard, your weed dealer, my wife and me, my cousin Toko, and my friend. So I was like, okay. So it was like 8 of us. And so he goes, we're going to go to Lowry's. I love the prime rib. So it was somewhere in one of those developments off the strip, and I love Lowry's. But I'm like, dude, it's already 9:30. They close at 10. He goes, not for me. They stay open. They stay open. So this dude booked Lowry's for us to get there at like 11. 11 at a Lowry's. That's baller. Like, you don't understand. Lowry's closes at 10. And he got a Lowry's to stay open. So I'm like, this is wild, right? I'm like, who's, he's like, well, they're going to like you, and they're going to like to see my friend. We're there. We're at the place, and it's ding dong. But he's like, my friend is here. My friend is here. And sure enough, we're in the pool, and dude comes in, and all I hear is, hey, I hear, hey, man. Oh, how can I do it? Hey, how are you? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, I have to get the accent down. And I look, and he goes, this is Jamie. Jamie, this is my friend, OJ. And it's OJ Simpson. And I was like, and my weed chick was like, and UFC was like, OJ! And my manager's like, oh, shit. So it was like, and the other girl, he's like, hey, Lila, what's up? Whatever. He knew everybody. And I had heard this about OJ since when everything went down, that he was hanging around with rich people and playing golf. And if he got kicked out of one community, he went to Florida, went to another community or whatever. I don't know. And so it's OJ. And it had to be when he got out of jail. So I shake his hand, and let me tell you, he does not break eye contact. He's like, nice to meet you, man. He's like, I'm a big fan. Big fan. Man, you are funny, man. I'll try to do the accent, but I have to work on it. It's a real mix between like Hertz, white, and a little Oakland. Like, people forget that OJ was gangster. He's from Oakland. I think he was raised by his grandmother. Like, that rage inside of him from his intense childhood was running against the rage of Oakland, So he's real. He could have been in the streets, but he was as tough as they come. And so that was, but he came off as this Mr. Clean, right? As everyone in LA thought he was the cleanest guy. I'm like, does this guy know Scream 2? There's something else I'll tell you about this later. And I'm like, and he just shakes my hand, and I'll just never forget. The guy is as charming as Ryan Gosling. I never met Gosling, but I'm assuming he's a charming guy. Just unbelievable charm. And I know I'm not supposed to say this, but it's the truth. Unbelievable. Lights up the room. Good-looking guy, probably in his 70s at the time. Not a wrinkle on his skin. His hands are manicured. I don't know if that's a joke, and he just shakes my hand, and it's firm, but not aggressive. Just like, this dude's got strength running through all of his veins. And I'm like, this dude ain't old at all. So I'm like, this is surreal, right? And my manager's like, oh, what's up, Juice? Whatever, because he was a mook, and the other just like, oh, yeah. And we all have wine. The guy comes who's throwing me in there, and he goes, okay, we're all going to Lowry's. Let's go get in the Hummer. So, like, he had some big-ass Hummer, And we all go to Lowry. We made some small talk. And he was just telling me he liked my show, The Experiment. And what do? You're getting complimented by a legend, double homicide, or horrific murderer, but then who got off, but he also likes your show. And then you joke about him in Scream 2. Like, these are all, think about all the touchstone moments again. You understand? Like, Scream 2 is its own animal. I improvised a joke about him. He looked bad in front of his kids. He liked my show. He has his own legend. There's dead bodies everywhere. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on. And I'm just duck horn. So we get to Lowry's, and if this guy's not a pimp, man, this guy, the whole restaurant's cleared out, and he has a huge ass table for us, and literally the whole staff is waiting for us. So it made sense what I'd heard about OJ, that it tracks that rich guys wanted to be cool, and so they're like, here's a celebrity, and OJ wanted money and golf, you know, and he wanted protection. So I think he would stay at this guy's house sometimes. He had a condo. He would stay, you know, where people would let him live. So we go there, and we're starting to eat. And this guy's ordering everything under the sun. We're getting prime rib and truffle mash and button mushrooms and just everything. It was amazing. Like, it was just good. Lowry's in Vegas, wherever this Lowry's is. I've gone to Lowry's in DTLA a lot, you know, at least 5 times. Not a lot, but after Lakers, and you got competition. You got competition out here. So that's one of the reasons I want to move to Vegas, just for all the food. And as much as I'm into going down the rabbit hole of truth and sports is a distraction, I sometimes need to be distracted. Sam Tripoli told me that. He's like, dude, sometimes you got to escape. But I even think sports are rigged. So a couple things happened during this dinner. I'll try to remember some things. But one of the things is, we were talking, and I'm loose now. You know, now I'm doing this weed deal, and the weed, one of the reasons I wanted to do this weed deal is because the weed concoction was so good that I would smoke this vape. I never vape, but I would take off a pen, and it was like a natural pen, and it was a pen, and it had no pesticides or anything. It was just like compressed like grapefruit extract or something, and like pure like THC or the blend. So they knew I'd be a paranoid person, so they put just enough CBD. Whatever it was, I would puff this pen once an hour, and I was like, just so like there wasn't a care in the world, but I was completely present. And I'm not a weed guy. And I'm like, if everyone could have this experience and there's no toxins or anything, I think we can sell, 10 million worth of these things. So I was like the guinea pig, so this girl had this strain. The pen was my buddy, and we put it out there, and, but so OJ's there. So I was like sucked on my pen because I had a long weekend. So I wanted to enjoy myself. I wanted to drink some duckhorn, and so I was a little loopy, but in a good way. I was feeling it. Old school Jay, like Miami Club Jay, or, Vegas Victor Dre nights Jay, like fun times. And at some point we're talking about USC, and we were talking, and I'm here. I'm at the head of the table because he invited me. So literally he is at one end, and we had all our people, and I'm at the other. And OJ's on the side. It wasn't his dinner. It was my dinner. So my $5,000 dinner became all these other people, right? So the guy gave me the head of the table, and I'm feeling myself. So I say, blah, 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 blue. And I say, and I said, it's just so up. They took Reggie Bush's Heisman. I go, that's just bullshit. Because it was. And then I said, and I think OJ said something like, oh, yeah. And I said, they banned him from, I think he said they banned him from the campus or something like that. It was somebody who did something. They couldn't go to the campus and was an athlete or something. And I'm like, well, this person did this and this person did this. And I go. And then I said, ban him from the campus. I said, the only person who got banned from the campus was you. Like that, right? And I'm like, Doc Horted. And he goes, he was like, yeah. And I was like, that's bullshit. And I go, the only person who ever got banned from the campus is you. And he goes, what? What do you mean banned from the campus? And I was like, oh, fuck. I stepped in some OJ. I'm like 6 glasses deep. My amazing weed. And I'm like, I'm at the head of the table, and my manager's looking at me, the weed chick's looking at me, the Indian guy, or I think he's Indian, is talking, I like Brussels sprouts. So he was in his own world. And I'm sitting there, and I look at OJ, and I go, he goes, why would I be banned from the campus? That's what he said. He said, why would I be banned from the campus? He literally said that to me. He literally said that to me in a Lowry's. I know. It's just incredible, right? It's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. So I'm like, what happened? And he goes, what happened? And I go, I don't know. He goes, yeah, what happened? What the happened? And it got real serious. And I remember that shake of that hand, and this eye contact is not breaking. Now he's 3 glasses deep, and I'm like, this could go fucking one of 2 ways, and both of them ain't gonna be good for JK. So I'm sitting there, we're looking at each other, and he goes, what happened? And I go, well, there was a lot of controversy, with the court case. And he's like, oh yeah, all that. He goes, yeah, I was never banned. I was a model student when I was at USC. I was never banned. And I was like, okay. So I go, do you go to campus? He goes, I go to campus anytime I want. And I was like, okay, all right. I mean, it was, and I'm saying 60% of the table's looking, 40% is looking for truffle mash. At that point, I literally, God bless her soul, some waitress comes over, some cute little thing, and she's like, another bottle of Camus? And she's like, pours, and I was like, yes! And so, like, she pours my shit, and I take a sip of it. And OJ all of a sudden goes, let me taste that. Is that real Camus? And I said, oh, yeah, this is Camus. He goes, let me taste that. And he's looking, again, not breaking eye contact, and I got a big-ass pour. And I'm looking. I take a sip. No, he takes it. He takes the first sip, and he takes a really big sip. And he grabs it, and he holds it. He goes, oh, that's good. That's good as shit. And he goes, try it. And I'm like, yeah, I had Camus before. And he goes, yeah, well, taste this bottle. It aerated, or whatever that term is. And I'm looking at him, and he ain't letting me not try it. So I let it, and as soon as the tiniest drop hits my lips, again, God comes into my life, and they go, juice! And like, I turn, and there's these 4 stripper hookers. And OJ goes, oh, shit, Vanessa! And turns, and I was like, pip, wipe. I took I asked him, give me a wipe. I had a wipe, alcohol, fucking, because I was like tripping on the germs, right? Poured it out, got a new glass, boom. All of that anger, all of that shit was gone once these 4 hoochies came out of the blue.